Hey guys, welcome to another review, I guess. I am Mr. P. Today I'm not doing a review really. I kind of am, but it's not a full review of an Amazon product you'd become expecting to, I guess. But what I'm doing today is this, which is Noypi wire. Now, information on this is very limited. I'm going to state that now. But I have been doing as much research as I can to find out exactly everything you need to know about this. So, Noypi wire. What I'm going to do is I'm literally going straight down now. I'm going to chuck it in a zenith. I'm going to show you that very quickly. Then I'm going to come back up and impart all of this wisdom that I have for you, and we'll have a little chat about it. Right guys, a little up close with Noypi wire. So first of all, let's just pop out the packet. The packet's not going to be needed. And then it's got a bit of advertisement situation going on here, and produce amazing clouds of vapor, awesome taste, guaranteed new vaping experience. And then Noypi, obviously from the Philippines. The information I've found about this tends to suggest it's stainless steel and completely sterile, but other than that, really ain't much. There's none listed on Spain Cigar, and in fact on most other websites that I've checked there's very little. Now what I'm going to do is cut a piece off to start with, if I can find my snippery doogans. Right guys, found my snippers, so let's give that a cut. We'll get this up here, get it trapped in there, and we'll get it out of the way. So now I'm close and personal with it. It's very much like Canthal ribbon, but as I say, apparently stainless steel and completely sterile. I mean, it doesn't matter how sterile it is, if your hands and that all over it, it's not going to be sterile for long in my opinion. But you know, I'm still actually going to flame this in order to remove some of the tension from it. So I'm going to run a flame along it very quickly. The problem with ribbon is as soon as you touch it with a flame it bends, so just bear that in mind. Flame it there. Beware of many other mods and atties you may have near you when you're doing this, and then obviously flame it up the top here. It's just a standard procedure when you're using Canthal and such. So be careful because it may still be hot. We flamed it just to remove the tension. I'm not worried about it being sterile or not sterile when I'm using Canthal. It's more the fact that it is full of springy bounciness, and flaming it removes that for me. Let's face it, we're going to heat it as soon as we put it into the device anyway. So I'm going to start off with a couple of wraps. Now I'm doing this around a 2mm bit, as I would most coils. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and just get sort of 5 coils on there. Might even go for 6, why not? And I'm going to try and space them out once they're on the device, or possibly even before then, depending on how responsive it is. So over twist it. You know, this is the problem I have with ribbon. I like to do my builds around a consistent bit, and it's not very consistent with ribbon because it's so bloody springy. So let's space it out a bit. Space out a bit from the back. See, we're all over everywhere at the minute. In fact, I'm just going to remove that one. I'm using a VVVW device anyway, so there we go. Got 5 cores on there. What I'm using is the Zenith, which seems like an obvious choice, to be honest with you, seeing as it's made to take ribbon. So if I just undo that really quick, undo our negative really quick, and we're just going to bung her in. So grab one through there, and then one through there. Now I want to try and go in close-ish with this, like so, okay, like that. And then once I'm in, I'm going to screw it down like this, and then I'm going to worry about all of our spacing and all of that after. The most important thing is getting it in the device to start with. Anything else is irrelevant up until we're dealing with it. So there we go, we're in the device now. What we'll do is pull it away a little bit there, and obviously being stainless steel and the rod being stainless steel, it is in fact quite hard to see the coils themselves. So what I'm going to do is just try my utmost. I'm going to put a bit of pressure on the bit and try my utmost to space them out and then put it away from the posts. At this stage I think I shall clip it all at the back like so, and then I'm going to try, and the key word there is try, to remove my bit, leaving a coil. Now let me just have a little look. We're going to want to try and space them out again. The problem is, as soon as you start moving this around, excuse the noise in the background, that's Brad Rewick and his bloody K-Fun. The slag. Yeah, that's alright. I don't have a train conductor in my room, I swear. And then try and bring the coils over like that. Not perfect, but we can play around with them a bit when we actually, sorry for the shadowing guys, in fact I should probably turn the light on my camera, I haven't done that. But that's what we've got so far. Now if we chuck a bit of cotton through it, which means we can then move it around again if necessary. But what we will do is feed the cotton through from this side, so it'll pull the coils over that way anyway, which means we might not have to fanny around with it too much. I was going to use Noypi cotton in this, but that tends to need a bit more of a solid coil and one that can stand up to a bit of resistance when you put it through. With this, be very, very careful with your cotton if you're going to wrap it in this fashion. If you're going to wrap it around the cotton, if you're going to use a silica or eco wool, then, you know, bob on, and you should be absolutely fine, because you're wrapping around your wicking material. Because we're trying to insert our wicking material through a coil, in this example cotton, you know, the slightest bit of resistance here and there is going to make all that difference. So be gentle with it, ease it in, and we're there. So now we've got our cotton in, we can grab our little screwdriver and try and get some more space in here. So something like that. I'll say something like that, I'm still not completely happy with that, but I'm definitely happier than I was before. So something like that, in fact. Then what I'm going to do is very quickly grab the scissors, snip that off here, I'm going to flip it round, snip that off there, get rid of those excess bits of cotton and so forth. And then I think what we'll do, obviously bear in mind guys, you haven't got to be a super tight fit. If you can get this to fit like you would in a standard microcoil without fanning around with your coil too much, it will expand in between your coils, and you get little bits of cotton coming out here. Now that could be a good thing, because, you know, the thing with ribbon is there's more surface area, therefore you've got more that you can do with it, and you've got more vapour production potentially, and so on and so forth, from a similar resistance. Okay, so what I've done, I'm just going to quickly, sorry guys, quickly tuck that under there. I'm going to bring this, I'm going to tuck it around the back like so, and then what I'm going to do is what we all do normally, which is prime it. So today, Papa's Sweeties is giving a go. I know the juice, and I know it on cotton, I know it on you know, Noypi. So what I wanted to do was use something I was familiar with to test this out. So get some in the deck, let it sort of soak up, get it, make sure, obviously as always guys, make sure you've got it on your coil more than anywhere else, because anywhere else can get it after, whereas you burn your cotton in your coil, you're going to have to go again, which is never fun, to redo something. So there we go. Now this is 5 wraps around a 2mm drill bit. What I am going to do is, let me just quickly, we're set to single, so I'm going to screw the top cap back on my zenith like so. Beautiful. Now I'm going to pop my top cap on the zenith, just like that, and then I'm going to quickly test the resistance, because let's face it, we're going to want to know that. So let me just get through to the information that I'm displaying on the screen, and ohms of the coil, and this coil 0.9 ohms with a 5 rep around a 2mm drill bit, so it's not particularly low resistance, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I was actually expecting this to be lower than it is, which is a wee bit strange, but you know, about flavour, isn't it? Let's be fair. So what I'm going to do is grab this drip tip, pop it back in. I'm going to bring this up now, and we have a little chat and a nice little vape on her. Let's see how we compare. Right guys, welcome back up. That was a look at this stuff, which is the Noypi wire. Now, produce amazing clouds of vapour, awesome taste guaranteed, new vaping experience is what is claimed on the paperwork. Now I looked at this initially and thought it's camphor ribbon, or very much like camphor ribbon. As I said in the close-up, this is made of 304 stainless steel. So, you know, it's not candle. You see in the close-up, it's very much like ribbon to build. It's a ribbon wire. Okay, it's very much like ribbon to build. Now, Noypi, what does it mean? Why is it called that? Noypi translates literally into someone who is of Filipino ethnicity. Is what it translates into. So what is it? It's Filipino wire. That basically is what this is. Now it is a ribbon wire again, stainless steel. Now what's promised is very much what's promised from camphor flat ribbon wire, which is an increased flavour, better vapour, so on and so forth. This comes from the same guys who brought us BioWick, you know, which is the wick I did a review of fairly recently and loved it. I hated it, then I loved it. This is a bit of a strange thing to be having, because I'll say it now, it tastes no different to me. I taste slight differences, very slight. The juice in itself doesn't really taste that different to me. The base of the juice is the same. This is Papa Sweeties. I've been using it for a while, like this week. I know how it tastes on different builds in different atomizers and in this atomizer. And to be honest with you, same as with camphor ribbon, I find the vape to be harsher on the throat. I do find there to be an increased vapour from it, as I would with camphor ribbon. But the backlash to that is it does taste incredibly harsh. The flavour's still there, but it lingers with a powdery harshness, which is strange, and it is something I've only ever experienced in ribbon before now. As I say, information is very, very limited. Okay, this to me looks very much like a flat version of G-Plat. The resistance is most likened in this to 28 gauge or 0.32 candle. 5 reps of this got me 0.9 ohms, so it's very much the same as, you know, 0.32 would have, or 28 gauge candle would have. Now, it's a ribbon wire. I'm not ribbon wire's biggest fan because I use cotton. You know, if I was using silica, it's a lot easier to work with in your traditional methods. But because I'm using cotton, I like to use a specifically sized drill bit, and it moves, and it's a pain in the ass to get into the right position. Same as it is with camphor ribbon. I've got meters and meters of stuff. I just don't really use it for that reason. It works great on mesh, and this I don't doubt would be a slight improvement over camphor ribbon on mesh. You know, in a Genesis, because I've compared this to camphor ribbon of a similar gauge, and I do find that compared to the opposing ribbon, it does give a good flavour, a better flavour, and it heats quicker. But compared to my standard micro with 0.32, 0.34, 0.5, you know, camphor, would I say it's an increased flavour? I wouldn't, if I'm honest with you, no. Any increased flavour that I would get from this, for me, and this is my opinion and my builds and my vaping experience and my vaping style, is counteracted by the fact that it's not a microcoil. Microcoils are much better for flavour than a standard coil, in my opinion, and you can't really microcoil this. Yes, you can do a Tin Man coil and so on and so forth, but I've tried them and I don't think they stack up to a microcoil either. So it's a difficult one, because it depends on what you're using. If you're using silica eco-wool, you'll probably love this if you use ribbon, because it's a slight improvement over that. If you're using standard camphor, it might do, but probably not. And if you're using microcoils, then I wouldn't say that this is going to be a step in the right direction for you, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Now, this costs from Spain Cigar €5, which is about £4.10, something like that. for 3 meters. It's quite expensive, if I'm perfectly honest with you, and I don't think necessarily it's worth it. Sorry guys, my phone's going on the fritz. I don't think it's necessarily worth it, because for me, I'm having to do a more complicated build, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm having to be a lot more careful when I'm using my materials. It's costing me more money, and is it yielding me better vapes? No, it isn't. I'd rather have a micro in this, and I think honestly I'll be getting a better flavour from it. That's really all I've got to say on Noypi. To be honest with you, I think it's a bit of a pointless thing. It's my perfectly honest opinion. I'm just not its biggest fan. Now, this isn't to say that you won't be. All I would say is that whoever is packaging this stuff up should most certainly stop putting it around these spools like this and get it around a proper cylindrical spool, because putting it around that is a bend every inch and a bit, and when you're using ribbon and trying to wrap it, it makes it more difficult. You've got to straighten it out first of all. It's not a massive thing, but how hard is it to put it around a spindle instead of, I'd imagine it'd be easier. So put it around a proper spindle and give us it so it comes off straight to start with. Again guys, I'm always honest, I don't think it's worth its money at all. I think the comparison in ribbon would be close enough for you guys. I'm not saying you shouldn't try it because of that. You can't gauge it for yourself until you try it. This is just my experience with it. But you know, I do know that I can get 50 meters of camphor ribbon for a couple of quid more than this. I'm not here to try and sell you something that I don't believe is better, because I don't. So that's my opinion on it. I don't think it's better. I don't think you're getting a better vape, especially if you're on micro coils. If you are on ribbon and you're using your traditional standard coils, please, I implore you to use a micro coil around a 2mm drill bit, 10 wraps of 0.32 and cotton, and then your vaping experience will be on another level. If you like ribbon, I understand you may, then I would stick with what you've got, to be perfectly honest with you. It's just not something I can recommend. I couldn't put my name to saying I've recommended this, because I don't. It's my perfectly honest opinion. I think it's a bit wank. So, sorry guys if you were looking forward to and wanting this to live up to its hype. For me it doesn't. If you disagree with me, please comment. Please feel free to say that I'm wrong, and you know, if 10 of you say that I'm wrong and I'm the only one saying it, then maybe you're right. But for me, no, this is not a winner. Right, I do want to say a big thank you to the guys over at SpainCigar.es for sending this over to me. Very grateful for the chance to play with it. And I do also want to say a big thank you to you guys for watching. I've been Mr. P, and I shall see you soon.